having a pretty good discussion over here on the TikTok side of things. I was going to let that sort of be my tune up, my feeler, just seeing how many people were still awake, how many people were interested in having a nuanced sports below the surface, Cowboys based, but just National Football League discussion. Cowboys Jets, they take care of business despite four fifths of their offensive line, 80% of their starting O line missing, and you dominate another team full of professionals, desperate professionals, if I may add. Right? I see a question here. At what point do we replace Sanborn? Great question. The answer is it was always coming. It was just a matter of time. I tried to illustrate that as best as I could on Instagram, Twitter, even here on YouTube, and the like. We got at least one person rolling in here now. Sound off. And thanks for being here late. Trust me, if you heard the introductory discussion on TikTok, it would make a little bit more sense. So I had a lot of thoughts that I couldn't really go to sleep without conveying. So that's what we're doing here. For those of you who are curious why I'm going live at 11:34 p.m. But family, man, life happens. And so it is what it is, man. I work when I can. When I have things to say, I say them. And so I hope that you appreciate that. But just know that I appreciate every single minute, every second that you guys, in a world of so many different distractions, so many different options, so many different ways that people can choose to spend their time: music, comedy, entertainment, movies, just quiet time in general. But with media involved, man, I know how valuable every single second is, because I am someone who deals with that on a daily basis. As far as, okay, I know that my time with my family is precious. How do I spend it wisely? And how do I know when my work life balance is actually balanced? I resonate so strongly with that. Please hear me when I say that, and I hope that makes sense to you guys. It's not just me saying things to sound cool or to sound like to make you guys feel some type of way. That's just me. That's the truth. So there's that. So replacing Sanborn, good question. JB's in the house. I see you, my man. That's you, since you're here with me at this hour. But I appreciate you, brother. It's Jack Sanborn walked off the field tonight. I haven't seen the update as far as what his injury was and to what severity, what exactly the extent of it is. That's something that I can actually, while we're here, I can do a little bit of digging and see if there's an update. Hold on one second. But then we'll have a below the surface discussion on Jack Sanborn here in just 1 second. Give me a minute. Jack Sanborn. Let's do injury. I know he left the game and didn't return. That's a shame. The first comment that I read said, this is where I struggle, man. Sometimes these uncomfortable conversations, they get weird, because these are human beings at the end of the day, and I try to always be mindful of that and respect that and do my work, carry out my business, my sports below the surface stuff with that in mind, right? Respecting guys who, I was them to a much lesser degree, right? But I was them. And I know how tough it is to deal with the things that they deal with as human beings first, before they deal with anything what is required to be a high caliber professional athlete, worth your salt. I don't know what injury Jack Sanborn has, to be totally honest with you. I don't recall hearing that at all. So let's do a little quick Google here. If somebody wants to paste that in the chat box, let me know. Jack Sanborn injury. What did he go to the locker room for? And honestly, maybe it's a sign. It should be a signal. It suggests what most of Cowboys Nation was already emphatically stating, which was that Jack Sanborn had no business being a starter on this team, on this defense. Maybe that's my fault on that front. Like maybe I let that creep in, and contrary to what I just explained about how much I try to value and reconsider, or keep in mind of the human element of sport, there I go, just because I've seen the film. I know what the narrative is about Jack Sanborn. Hasn't been good so far. I just say in my head, right when I see him walking off the field, the first thing that I think of, and it's a shame to admit it, but it's true, is that, oh, Cowboys fans are clapping at this one. That's sad to me. But I know that's how a lot of you feel. And I don't necessarily think that you're crazy for that. I think that to root for anybody's demise is weird. Especially to clap when a player gets hurt, that's suspect, big time. But to be vocal about wanting better for the team that for your team, the team that you cheer for, right? To be vocal about that, I love it, and it's part of what allows me to do what I do today. Is And that's why you guys are here. And for anybody that's new right now, just joining with, I got 43 people over here on the TikTok side. I don't know how many people are still awake on the YouTube side. I got 7. That's a low number for us, relatively speaking, but that's 7 more than I would otherwise have had tonight if I would have just elected to go to sleep and try to tuck my thoughts away somewhere, So there's 7 other sicko nerds just like me that deserve, that want, and that will get from me the objective, sports below the surface truth for the true fan. That's what this channel is about here. So if that resonates with you, if you learn something, if you appreciate that statement right there, or if you say if you hear something that I say anywhere along the way between now and whenever you sign off and elect to close your eyes and hopefully say some prayers and catch some sleep, is if you say, that dude kind of gets it. He kind of speaks my mind. Like he's kind of an outlet for what goes on in my head when I'm watching Cowboys games. Just know that is my sole objective, is to convey to the true fan and give you the objective, sports below the surface truth, but convey that in a creative way. And hope that you appreciate the time that you devote to me in this platform. Trust me, I'm never intentionally wasting your time. There are times when I will be wrong about certain topics, certain players, certain games, certain matchups, certain draft philosophies, certain things, right? But one of the things that gave me so much confidence, and I think that is largely responsible for the current, I feel like I'm just in a really good rhythm right now with this, listening to you guys, having conversations with you guys, but just making sure that I stay consistent for you guys, right? Is what got me to that point, I think, is stepping out boldly. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a little time frame there. There was where I was a little shook, kind of shaking in my boots a little bit. I was like, man, I feel like I'm crazy because everybody says that the Cowboys absolutely cannot draft an offensive lineman 12 overall. This is back in March, mid-March. I'm having all these thoughts. I'm like, man, am I crazy? Is it me? But it wasn't. I wasn't crazy, and it wasn't just me. It was a couple others, a couple people who stood on that pedestal with me, watched Lombardi lose takes included. And I've mentioned their names a few times recently, in recent weeks, in recent shows, because I appreciate not only their perspective, and of course, I resonate well with the fact that they saw it the same way that I did. But I just appreciate their willingness to be bold with their opinion. Right? When you go against the masses, it's a very isolating feeling. But it gave me confidence. I was proud to know that the thought process, the methodology, the research, the things, the structural, the philosophical, the logical, in my opinion, reasons that got me to that point, they bore out, they manifested, right? So Ty Church is in here. I see you, my man. What's up? Thanks for being here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late getting back over here to the comment section on the YouTube side of things. Gene Martz, I agree. Jack Sanborn misses a lot of tackles. It's next man up, and I think that had been slowly but surely building over time with seeing Maris Leofau's snap share go from I think 6 total snaps in week 1 to 25 total snaps in week 4. This week, I noticed him on the field all over the place on the opening drive or two. It's got Marcus McFarland in the house too. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. Connor Bean said that it was a concussion. That makes sense for Jack Sanborn. But needless to say, Maris Leofau and Shamar James each got a ton of extra reps today as a result of that injury, and that's what a lot of fans have been asking to see. So they got what they were wishing for. But I hope that just for Jack Sanborn and his family, I hope the best for him. We'll see what happens going forward. But I'm excited to see the film and to break all that down for you guys once again, creatively and objectively. Let's get to some more questions here. Turpin can play slot. Yes, he absolutely can and will be playing slot when he gets back. That's why it was such a significant talking point for me when we found out that he may be missing this game. Who's the move player? Who's the motion man? Did you guys notice a little bit of a – sorry about that. A little bit of a different offense tonight. I'll highlight that as well. I'll show you the foundation in week 1 versus the foundation in week 5, albeit against philosophically different, honestly, philosophically and personnel-wise, very different defenses, different units. But I'll show you how important Kevontae Turpin is from a leverage standpoint as the chess piece that moves, that gives the quarterback the tell, hey, is this man or is this zone? Middle field going to be open, middle field going to be closed. It creates off-ball advantages for a slider receiver, right? So he's getting free releases every single time. He's not getting manned up, getting pressed by a corner as a stagnant X or Z receiver, right? When I hand him the football, got a really fascinating discussion about that also on my YouTube channel. If you guys are interested, I'll try to remember to post that in the description. It's Kevontae Turpin, RB2. And this is, again, keep in mind, this was before Jadon Blue made his debut, okay? But the way that you hand Kevontae Turpin the football, there's a very specific discrepancy that matters very much as far as his efficiency as a ball carrier, as a running back. And it's handing it to him in a way that gets him simulating or something that resonates or it resembles what he sees as a return man. You can no longer outflank defenses east to west, guys. It's a very much north and south, like the pendulum is swinging back in favor of offenses, favoring and become like finding their foundation in physicality first, heavy personnel, condensed formations, like power formations, power run game. Javonte Williams is exemplifies. He exemplifies that, right? I'll pull up the clip right here on the YouTube side of things. You know, it's power and pad level, man. It's I don't even know if I can find it. It might take me a minute. I should have had that pulled up, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. But it's just the world that we live in now. Okay, so that's a discussion that we can have, DJ. Let's have that discussion right now. What did you think of the soft coverage on third down? And this isn't just today, guys. So make sure y'all hear me on that. We got receipts from years past, but today especially, man, I about came out my damn rocker. I did come out of my chair, actually. So on the couch with my wife, 7.5 months. Actually, she's 8 months pregnant at this point. And she's trying to relax a little bit. We just got the kids napped, put down for a nap. And I see 3rd and 7. And I'm watching. I'm sitting there. I see whoever the two off-ball backers were in the game. Like I said, the all-22 isn't out yet. I haven't seen it yet. It was a mugged look, a mugged line of scrimmage, right? We get to the play. Explain this to me, somebody, is what I said at the time. And I still feel that way. But you see, they mugged the line of scrimmage, right? So they're attempting to confuse the offense, the offensive line, affect the communication, affect the slide, affect the protection, right? But then they're designed like somebody else is going to drop from an unspecific or unforeseen spot, which is going to give Justin Fields a drop zone defender coming from a different direction than he may have otherwise anticipated, that he may have otherwise known to be the general case for the Cowboys or otherwise, right? The whole purpose of film study and offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators and head coaches getting hired and fired and all the whatever all over the place so frequently is because of the film that we have available to us today, where people like me can come in and see like what teams' tendencies are, what they do well, what they don't do well, how they play certain downs and distances, right? Get all this information. You have to always adapt. You can't just play it straight up, which is what Matt Eberflus tried to do, because he had planned all along on having somebody like Micah Parsons be able to affect the rate at which the quarterback was pressured and taken off of his platform. He didn't anticipate. He didn't scheme. He didn't game plan. He didn't bring in personnel for anticipating that Micah Parsons was not going to be a part of this pass rush. That's important to acknowledge and remember. And I hope that makes sense. But here's where I'm at. And I'll flip the phone so you guys can see as well. You know what? I forgot to share my screen. Hold up. Sorry, YouTube. YouTube, don't leave me yet. Don't desert me. Got 10 people up in here. Let me share the screen and then we'll roll. Business as usual. Here we go. Sorry, guys.
Greg's good at his job, and he said it obviously before I'm going to have a chance to video this and talk about it as the overlay. But I stood up out of my chair. She can attest. I'm watching pressure coming. 7 yards to go. Why are we 9 yards off the ball? Talk to him, Greg. What are we doing? The ball has to come out fast. I'm going to yell and wake up my kids if I see this again. Little things, man.
And what's
Greg's
actually
good at his job, and he said it. Obviously, before I'm going to have a chance
what's actually
to
wild
video
about the
this
whole
and talk about it
that
as
whole
the
situation
overlay.
is that my daughter, I actually did, I jinxed it because I didn't wake her up when I was screaming right there. But literally 4 minutes later, I think she was having a bad dream or something. I don't know. But my wife and I both sprinted in there off the couch watching the Cowboys game because she was screaming her head off. I was like, it sounded like she was in pain or choking or something. I didn't know what was going on, but thank God she was okay. It was just a bad dream, I think. But she actually did wake up, and in my head, we laughed it off after. But in my head, I was thinking she had nightmares of Trayvon Diggs and company. He's not the only one, right? So I'm not just singling out Trey. It's a philosophy that I've seen not just this year, but in recent years too. It's just one of those things where conceptually it'll never make sense. But jokingly in my head, man, I just made light of the situation by saying she had nightmares that Cowboys DBs were lined up, 10 yards off of their particular receiver and a 3rd down and 7 scenario. When Justin Fields is at the line of scrimmage, he sees, I'm counting them right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys along the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped. He knows that's a hot read. That ball's coming out. It's got to be. There's no other option, right? So press somebody, man. Alter their get off. Redirect their route. Change their leverage. Make the quarterback make him hesitate. Second guess himself. Just a split second. Because that split second can be the difference between just narrowly getting the ball off in time and on target or getting the first down. And say James Houston, Jadeveon Clowney, whoever you want to say, Oso Digizua, Kenny Clark, blitzing 2nd or 3rd level player, whoever, Maris Leofau. Right? It could be the difference in one of those guys getting a hand on the football prior to his hand moving forward to be a legal a forward pass attempt, right? You get a strip sack as a result of that. That's how important that split second can be, right? So alter that. Don't give 10 yards of cushion when they only need 7. Make the quarterback so much of perception is reality, especially in real time to an athlete, right? Here's a great example. I would hate as a pitcher. This is fantastic right here. This is gonna be perfect. Let me make sure I'm big. Okay, perfect analogy. You ready? From baseball to football. Why that frustrates me so much is because I've lived on Trayvon Diggs' side of things the quarterback throwing at Trayvon Diggs' side of things. Okay. As a pitcher, you see a hitter who's off the plate. Like, let's say he doesn't crowd the plate at all. He gives himself either plenty of distance relative to where he's at in the box versus like the actual plate itself. Okay. Or his setup, part of his like routine, he's in the box, like just getting just into his rhythm. He has an open stance. That to me as a pitcher, right? When I'm seeing that, either of those two situations, for some reason, it's just the way, like, it's like sports psychology. Once again, sports below the surface here. Gene, that's what I don't get it, man. Trust me. I said on every social media platform I have is somebody I dare you to make this make sense to me. We got Hall of Fame tight end Greg Olson on the call, and he's really good at his job, like I said. And he actually, there was no way I was going to beat him to it. But thank God we see it the same way. It's a Hall of Famer, man, at tight end. And he's like, what is going on? What are they doing? So me as the hitter either has an open stance, right, where he kind of shows his chest a little bit more, like just he likes to step into the path of the baseball as he's loading. Some guys, it's all preferential, right? Either that, he has an open stance, or he's further away from the plate, from the dish. In general, both of those things give me, the pitcher, the perception that the strike zone is bigger. It feels like my margin for error. I have more. It's like, okay, just you're dotting, like you're dotting, I don't know, twice the circumference of the otherwise, 18 by 20 strike zone. When you give cushion like that in a third down, gotta have it scenario, right? Quarterbacks already got up so much to process these days against the modern D coordinator, which was what we saw more often than we had so far through the season, which shows me that it's a credit to Matt Eberflus for adjusting and adapting and being willing to be less, what's the word? To be less, what do you call it? Stuck in your ways, Stubborn. There you go. With his style of defense that he's calling, he's less stuck in his ways. Therefore, he's learning every single time he cuts the tape on, and he's adapting. I'm seeing stunts. I'm seeing looped, like linemen replacing each other in their particular rush lane, right? With a big looping stunt, like across the formation, where you're forcing multiple planes of communication from the continuity of your offensive line. Like you've got left guard sliding, that particular player, that protection to the center trying to pass him off to the right guard, right? It's like multiple planes of passing and communicating. James Houston gets home, right? It's more mugging. Just show 6 at the line of scrimmage. Force them to communicate. Force the quarterback to second guess, even in the slightest. That's all that it, like, those things that I'm talking about. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, and I apologize if I am to you guys. Y'all can let me know, but it's it's the same discussion. The easy buttons that you give to a quarterback whenever you just have the ability to say something so seemingly simple as marrying the run game to the pass game. Right, having, like, whenever you throw the football on average, what formationally do you look like? What do you look like? Are you formationally similar to when you're running it? Or do you give away clear tells? Are you throwing 80% of the time from the gun and only running it on a similar rate from under center and or vice versa, right? Whatever your consistencies or your tells are. Be 50-50 run from under center while also being 50-50 run from the gun. That's called run and pass game marriage. It's a very simple, very modern, very, very common to quality offenses thing. That's what just Dial them up on third down. That's what that is for Eberflus. It's run and pass game marriage for Dak. The same breath as it is, hey, Matt, just send 5, send 6. Just stunt a little bit. Just force a little bit of communication. That's all you got to do. Reed said he likes what he saw today. And I have bad news. I don't know if I'm talking too loud, which I might be because I get kind of animated on this stuff. But I think I hear one of my girls is crying. So if y'all hear me just abruptly in the chat, you'll know why, or the video, you'll know why. I need to be better about saying in the comments though. Let me get to some of y'all's questions before we roll. In the event that does happen here soon. Flacco Boy says, "Hi, how's it going? We need something to not waste Prescott's time here." I think they're trying. George Pickens told me they were trying. Jadeveon Clowney told me they were trying. Another move for an edge here, which is possible, assuming they win next week. They take care of business against the Panthers, and they're all of a sudden 3-2-1. Potentially the same loss record after next week as the Eagles. Yeah, you could see Jerry start to get a little bit more active. Sure could. Jerry's in a wait-and-see approach right now, guys. Steven, too. The front office, they're in a wait-and-see approach about going and spending draft capital because they're trying to figure out, okay, who are we? Who truly are we? Offense is real. That's not a fluke. It's here to stay, which shouldn't surprise anyone. All you had to do was assume, in theory, that everything we knew that was going to come true, that we predicted here on this channel, was going to happen about their run game. If it was only 50% of what we talked it up to be, it was going to be a significant improvement from the 2023 campaign when Dak, with no semblance of nearly this caliber of run game, was still your MVP runner-up. And a lot of people thought, statistically speaking, should have won it over Lamar Jackson. So if Jerry's looking for the front office, the obviously the pro scouting department, they're looking for, okay, are we showing a little bit of confidence, or not confidence, competence with our coverage in the secondary? And in the same breath, is our pass rush continuing to come along? Like, are we just showing, because if you're really that inept across the board, which they aren't, and they proved that today, they're not inept. They're just trying to figure it all out. Okay, but in theory, right? In Jerry's mind, let's just say prior to the Packers, fans were saying, go get so-and-so. Go get, whoever. Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or whatever, fantasy world they're living in. Jerry he's not a guy to just waste assets to appease the fan base anymore. If moves are made because he understands how important, how big of a deal the NFL draft is, he's never going to sacrifice again the ability to be a talking point for that entire 4-month span when every other sport is circumvented, is undercut by the freaking underwear Olympics and the NFL draft. Jerry's not going to wait. He remember what he talked about, what he said when they traded for Amari Cooper, how miserable he was that following draft calendar, or that following draft prep year, the 2019 draft. That was the year they took D tackle from UCF, Tristan Hill. Round 2, that was Rob Marinelli's guy to go and get. It's wild that even 6 years later, we're still having conversations about filling that void at the defensive tackle spot. I also I need to acknowledge that I didn't appreciate Malik Collins for what he was until he was gone, and what I'm seeing, what he does with the Cleveland Browns, albeit even the attention that Myles Garrett gets is a little bit different than what Micah Parsons used to receive when Malik Collins was here, when Micah was still a rookie. So Myles Garrett frees up everybody else, but Malik Collins has been a freaking demon, and it's wild to witness. Would love for him to still be here right now. That soft coverage on third down, man. I think I said that all that needs to be said on that. If I have to show the video again, I can. But if you just go to my Twitter profile, it'll be like the third or fourth most recent thing that's on my timeline. Oh, we got fantasy question. I like this. That's actually kind of a prequel or a prelude to some updates that I have in the near future. Because I am a fantasy guy, and so many of my friends and family already reach out for me to advice. I feel like it would just be, I'm kind of missing an opportunity to turn that into a business model of some sort, so I'm weighing my options right now. What's the trade? Real quickly. Jalen Hurts and Josh Jacobs for Justin Herbert and Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts and Josh Jacobs. So I don't know, man. It feels lateral on both fronts. Because you're kind of it is fair. To answer your question, it seems fair. Yeah. I mean, both running backs get the bulk of the work, and they're and not necessarily high-powered offenses. For the Packers, that's the case, but for the Eagles, it's Saquon is always going to be in a favorable game script, a positive game script, where the Eagles are going to be either tied or within reach or leading significantly in most of their games, to where they're going to continue having a neutral game script where Saquon can run the football. I mean, it would depend to me on I don't know. That feels like a wash to me on both fronts. I would say it's fair. Anyway, do I think we're making the trade before the deadline? That's a good question. So I think that I'll just kind of reiterate what I said a minute ago, that it's very much a wait and see. If we continue to show growth next week, signs of competence, borderline dominance on the defensive side of the ball, we're giving up fewer explosive plays, and it feels like they're closer. And let's say Savon Revel Jr.'s timeline is either A, still slower than they would have otherwise planned for long ago, or B, they know that even when he is 100% healthy, he's not going to be what the Cowboys need to have that difference-making asset as a cover man. Then yeah, that would absolutely warrant a veteran free agent addition. But I think here's the thing. I think the Cowboys know they can improve the cornerback position with relative ease for very, very cheap. That can be a literal free agent dealing. Teams do not like giving up quality cover corners in this league. They're very hard to find on the open market, and oftentimes when you do, you overpay. But I guess in theory, it could be done. You have 4 draft picks in the next 2 years in the first round alone to play around with. But I think you could probably improve your communication, your zone coverage ability with Stephon Gilmore for a very, very relative cheap price. Now, other positions like edge, where guys, even Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby, of course, Myles Garrett, even if you will. I don't know what the Browns would be insane to ever deal him. I could make it make sense for the other two with Hendrickson and Crosby, because they just seem so far away. Like, just from a roster construction standpoint, they feel miles further. no pun intended, than Myles Garrett and the Browns are currently. But I could make Max Crosby make sense for a Raiders team that just says, you know what, we're not anywhere close. We just need to have as many high quality, high caliber draft assets as we possibly can. We just need to infiltrate our entire roster with as many top end talent players. Just kind of hit the reset button, save some money on the cap. Let's just start over because we're not as close as we thought we were when we were bringing Geno Smith in here. I don't think any Raiders fan expected them to look the way that they have so far this year. That's just crazy. If you were the coach, so this is like the $1 million question right now. If you were the coach, would you consider giving Ryan Flournoy more playing time other than Jalen Tolbert? So here's the thing. First of all, great question, Glenn. Dak Prescott really, really trusts Jalen Tolbert. And Reed, I assume you mean James Houston, in which case you're correct. A couple penalties, but 100 miles per hour, I can live with it. Back to this question. If you were the coach, would you consider giving Ryan Flournoy more playing time than Jalen Tolbert? Would I consider it? I already have. Many times. So that question, the answer is yes. I would consider it. But the quarterback's input plays a heavy hand into this equation. I did see that picture, Jeremiah. Jerry flipping off the Jets fans. Freaking insane, man. That's a wild old man. Was that AI? That wasn't AI, was it? Let me see what y'all talking about over here. Hold on. Do we feel a little bit more confident in the defense regardless of how much they scored in the fourth? Great question, man. Great question. I love that question. Do we feel a little bit more confident in the defense regardless of how much they scored in the fourth? I'm going to answer it from my perspective first, but thank you for the question. Was it Frank? Thank you for the question, Frank. I'm going to answer it from my perspective first, and then just generally speaking, like mainstream media or general public from their perspective second, okay? From my perspective, do we feel more confident in the defense? The answer is yes, but only because I had already predicted that was going to be the case. Not predict, like predict is a bad word. I'm not trying to say that I was the one that knew they were going to get better, you know. No, I am saying that I was just applying objective logic, reason to the equation. Okay, you got all these new pieces, all these moving parts, all these guys that aren't playing in the preseason anymore. You always are mindful of new scheme or new team. Patience, young Padawan, right? Let the cake bake. That was the message 3 weeks ago. Thumbnail on my YouTube timeline. It's like Flus doing one of these numbers right here, like throwing his hands up in the air. What the Flus was that? And then there's one or two more probably after that. Gives you better insight if you're interested. I don't think I have time to spend dwelling on those thoughts from that point, but just like generally speaking, in layman's terms, it's Flus didn't know. He's adjusting on the fly to a very different set of personnel, a very different set of circumstances with no Micah Parsons than he could have ever. I mean, expect the unexpected. Sure, you want to be mad at Flus for not expecting the unexpected. Okay, that's your prerogative. That's fine. I'm not going to fight you. But man, that nobody thought Micah was going to be gone, right? So these guys are repping, let's zone up. Let's too high up. I got to do this puzzle here. I don't know what that means. TikTok wants me to make sure I'm not a robot, I guess. There's a good video of? Okay. Y'all are saying of Jerry flipping off Jets fans. Okay, so that actually happened. That's insane. Not surprised, but that's crazy. Giving Ryan Flournoy more playing time. Let me just finish my thoughts on that point. Ryan Flournoy is a player that. What video was it? I'll show you guys. His NFL debut was last year against the Steelers. Let me just scroll. Lots of videos since then. Where was it? Must have been alive. Only reason I'm taking the time to go back and find it is because I actually want to go back and rewatch and just kind of see what my general thoughts were at that point about Flournoy. Well, I must have missed it. I know it's on here. Was it just a short? If it's a short, we can watch it together and catch up. Man. Well, just wasted about 3 minutes, so apologies on that front. No, a lot of you guys probably just signed off and said, whatever this guy's doing, I'm done watching him try to scroll for an old video. It's all good. I'll find it later. A couple more questions before I call it a night myself. What do we got? Shamar did play fast today. Good point. Good call. Definitely moves well. Still seems a little bit slow as far as like understanding the calls and what his assignments are, but that'll come with reps. Mingo's, so they opened up his 21-day practice window. So he's got he wasn't active today, but he's got 2 more Sundays, 2 more weeks to be activated. And if they don't activate him on the active game day roster with one of the next 2 games, then he's on season-ending IR. But they've activated his 21-day return window from IR, so hopefully soon, hopefully next week. Got to go back and watch the film, Clanton gang, but Wanye, from what I noticed, just kind of running the alley and stepping up and run support. Seemed like a confident tackler. He's always shown good instincts for the football, a nose for the football through the air and on the ground. Been calling just to see more Wanye, just to see, right? For no other reason than to, hey, it seems like every time this guy gets limited reps, he makes plays. He finds the football. He's in the right positions at the right times. Like good fortune just seems to come when Wanye Thomas is on the field. It has always felt like that throughout his career. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, one reason or another, whether it's politics or something otherwise unforeseen, man, hasn't gone Wanye's way as far as reps go. But yeah, today he's a guy that I feel like his instincts are always going to take him to the right spot, and that's something that I want to bet on. Javonte Williams is him. That's true. Yeah, not surprised. Not surprised at all. You guys shouldn't be either. If you follow this platform closely, you're not surprised. Jadon Blue, you gonna make me in on a spicy one. Y'all gonna get mad too because there's a lot that I still don't know if I'm allowed to disclose. But I do need to end the show because I got 5% battery left before my phone dies. Jadon Blue. Let me say this in the most humanitarian way that I possibly can. Kids make mistakes. Kids are capable of maturing. But the things that I know that I have learned as recently as a few hours ago today, at the very least, make me hesitate to pound the table for one Jadon Blue. None of the things that I have heard are necessarily condemning, but it does make me question some of the storylines that permeated throughout Cowboys land earlier in the offseason when I initially wrote them off. Kids, as I mentioned, and I want to make this very, very clear, are capable of maturing, becoming professionals, becoming men, turning corners in all phases of their life. Jadon Blue is a kid that has already defied significant odds being where he's at today. Knowing some of the things that I know. And it makes my heart pound, not because I'm scared that anything bad is going to happen as far as Jadon Blue's time with the Cowboys. Nah, it ain't about that for me anymore. It's about, I just hope that those things are truly in the past. I pray that they are for Jadon and his family. Screw the Cowboys. I want the person to thrive, to succeed, to spread his wings and fly. And if that happens, then the Jadon Blue that Cowboys fans have been dying for, itching for, will come to fruition. The only thing I'm saying is I no longer have, quote, beyond a shadow of a doubt, thoughts and opinions in favor of him. No, the answer is no, Kevin. I'm not going to tell you what I know because I owe my word is all that I have, and it's also out of respect for Jadon Blue and his family. But just know that I'm freaking rooting for him, big time, big time. Just know that. Because I want that. I want humanity to thrive and to hear it and to see it. Yeah. So Man, what a great win. I'll be damned if I don't close the. I know that was kind of a somber couple minutes there. Just be thinking about the human element of sport more often than you do, and support these kids, support these young men because they need it. And it's not just Jadon. Trust me. Once again, close followers of mine know that. You've heard me talk about it before. It's not a first. It won't be the last. Kids go through things. Athletes struggle with things. People have problems that they must mature from and overcome. You think that's why Shotty talks so deeply about the person behind the player? You think that's why Shotty talks about how much do you love football? You think that's why that was some of our first projects this year, this offseason? Because I'm studying, I'm seeing the tendencies. I'm reading the sports psychology of Coach Schottenheimer. The fact that he does not break eye contact, he doesn't blink, he doesn't hesitate, and his mannerisms don't flinch when he's answering these tough questions. I'm gonna change camera angles because both of you guys deserve it. When he's answering these tough questions about George Pickens' character, about Tyler Guyton's growth and development as a left tackle, giving honest answers now that I look back, given the information that I know now, currently, about one particular running back. Damn. Shotty really is about that. The things that I wrote about on Athlon Sports months and months ago, about the signs that we were studying, the sports psychology of Brian Schottenheimer involving everyone in his operation, from marketing to sales to the fan gear center, whatever they call it at the Star in Frisco, to the accountant, to the janitorial service, to the food court district, to whoever. If you're in that building, you're a Dallas Cowboy in Shotty's eyes. And he will treat you with the same amount of respect as he would treat any one of his coaching staff, any one of the front office members, or any one of his players. Whataburger. 45 minutes to an hour on this very platform about that, about the importance of that, about the standard being the standard. Not just in competition of sport and of football, but of coaching staff and beyond. My standard is I put people, I put culture first. I create a culture of competition so that you're no longer coddled, you're no longer comfortable, like the front office is oftentimes guilty of, whether they know it or not. So that I make sure that I uphold my end of the bargain as far as what I stand for, what my dad, Marty, is up in heaven smiling down on me for my core values as a human being. Standing on those principles and then living with the results. So far, those results are pretty dang revolutionary. Just watch the effort of the offensive line. Watch the efficacy of the offense as a whole, despite being without 4/5 of their offensive line and their number one weapon. Just pay very, very close attention. And I would hope that as a result of this live tonight, and I apologize for not getting to more questions, I would have loved to have done so, and I'll get better at doing that. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate you, man. But thank you guys for being here. And like I said, I would hope that you would pay more attention to this platform and to this channel, and you would do it the service. Um, just do your part, right? I've done my part tonight so far. I'll continue doing it throughout the season and beyond. But all you got to do is hit one button for me. You know what that button is? Just hit the like button or share it with a friend, and then continue this platform, continue its growth, continue its expansion. Trying to get to 10K right now. I think we can do it at the pace that we're currently at, and with your continued help and support, we can. We absolutely will do it. But I think we're just over 6K as of right now. So about 4K and change to go, which once again is absolutely an attainable goal. Keep this platform free, right? And I'll have updates for you guys in the coming days. I'll be putting together like a membership subscription. Let me know if you guys are interested. Just generally speaking, if you think that that's worth my while. But I just want to put together a community where subscribers or members have access to just like being in a community chat, where I'll just call it like the nerd chat or the nerd center, where it's just like high level sports below the surface, deep analytical thought, and just good conversation. But subscribed and tiered members would just have access to, like, you guys ask a question. So long as you are a subscriber, I'll guarantee that I'll answer that question on any given um, live show. Usually it would probably be on Friday nights in season. That's what we would probably do. But I would guarantee that your question has a chance to, or gets the opportunity to be answered. And I would love to do that, just to sort of establish the actual conversation within this specific community, and just begin developing better relationships with you guys. But you would also, of course, inadvertently support me directly, which would more than help and make this even more worth my while than it currently is. But with that, both of these outlets here are getting ready to crash. So I thank you guys for your time. Remember that prayer changes things, and the war